Hey everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel where I give you my 2 cents on all things TV and film. And today we are talking about All American Season 7, Episode 7. And I'm doing things a little differently with this video because we are at the halfway point of the season. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the episode, but I'm going to talk more about what I want to see in the back half of the season with all of the characters and situations and thoughts and theories and all that kind of stuff. So let's get right into it. So, about the episode, the kids threw a party and their shenanigans shenaned, and that's exactly how I would want it to be. Now, it was a little awkward for Amina. She got no kiss from KJ because she got blocked. And then during the Truth or Drink game, she also didn't get no kiss from Khalil. And then she walked in on Tori and KJ. It was just a bad night for her. Moving on, the Cassius crash out, it was unpretty. I just hope that this is the end of the pity parties and that he will start moving forward in getting his life and his marriage together. And then the last thing that I want to say about the episode is, Coop and Patience finally broke up, and I don't think anybody was shocked about that, including myself. And I, in fact, think that the majority of us were just anticipating this for a while now. But like, I think we all know that that's what's best for them, and that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, now let's get into the halfway talk. That's what I'm just going to call it. With Cassius, like I said, I just hope that we can start see him figuring out his marriage. He said he wants to fix it, so I really am going to need to see him take the steps to try at least to fix it. And the way that they are posted up in that hotel room is almost as if they think that their stay is temporary. So I'm wondering if their thoughts are, or at least Cassius's thoughts are, if the separation ends and they stay married, like, does that mean that they're moving back to Oakland? That is a question that really needs to get answered, because if not, I've said this before and I will say it again, I need them to get out of that hotel room, and I know that means that they're just going to have to make a new set. And that's why they're staying there, and I'm probably not going to see them move out anytime soon. But listen, a girl can ask. That's all I can do. But also, now that we know that he doesn't really like football and why he played when he was a kid and why he started coaching, which is really much for KJ, is he going to start questioning whether or not he wants to continue to be a coach? Which then makes me think, is that if he's not a coach anymore, will that lead to KJ playing for Jordan, which is what he really wants to do? But that's just a whole nother conversation and something that he needs to think about. And I think that we need to start seeing him think about all of these things. I said this before, there's a lot of like uncertainty and they're very unsettled. And I'm really hoping that moving forward, we get to see them figure all of those things out and get their lives back on track. Now, for Layla, if I didn't already know that we were going to see her working on the music with Elle again, that is something that I would be asking for, because if you remember in the last season, she said that that's something that she wants to get back into doing, and we saw the whole setup with Elle, so let's move forward and start to see them working together and see her getting back into the music side of things. It would also even be great if she could, like, the lounge and the music could combine, and that's where she tests out the new songs that they write and see how the audience feels about them, or even uses her lounge as like open mic nights or ways to find new talent now that Patience is gone off doing whatever she's doing and going to London and all of that stuff. Also, please give us more of her mentoring and looking after Khalil and Amina, because she's so good at it. It's also very clear that she can use her past experiences to help them, like all of the mom stuff with Amina, and then even with Khalil, him not feeling deserving or worthy of all of the goodness that he's receiving. She can definitely help them both deal with those situations. I mean, we already saw in this episode with Khalil that last scene that they had together, which was amazing. But just more of that, please. With Jordan, I've said this before and I will continue saying it until it happens, but can we please see him get some wins? Like, this whole uncle storyline was the main thing for him for a while, and while I don't think they've completely dropped it, I hope that they have like at least brushed it aside enough for another thing to become the main thing for him, like being a good coach and keeping Khalil safe. And continuing with the uncle of it all, it's starting to look obvious, especially in this past episode, that Cassius's dad is the uncle. But now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, is it too obvious? Is it just going to be some random person? Is he not going to be alive anymore? Like, it's just starting to get a little too obvious that Cassius is a relative to him. So now I don't know. But I do hope that they don't completely drop this storyline and we never hear from it again. And moving on to the beef that Khalil's dad has with Jordan. Now I know I said this and other people have said this. They think that something dangerous is going to happen to him. And like, I understand obviously why everyone is thinking that way. I was thinking that way myself. It could be a very dangerous situation, even though he is locked up right now. But the more I think about it, the more I'm just like, is that really necessary other than having drama for the sake of drama? Like, I just don't understand why we would need to see something like that. Like, I know the stakes are going to have to be high and there's going to have to be some more conflicts. Like, it can't just be he's in jail and that's it and they're done. Or maybe that's what they want to do. And like, they just got rid of him so they could move Khalil into that home. And I know that like Khalil's dad could get out and like, or talk to somebody who is out and they could show up and do something to him. But I'm not sure I really want to see that. Like, I understand that there has to be a conflict in that situation to drive it, and that we're not completely done with everything that's going on with Khalil's dad. But I'm hoping that even though Jordan is in the middle of it, that it's more of a situation that is focused on Khalil and his dad, and not like his dad being scary and violent with Jordan simply because he took him in and is trying to give him a better life. Like, my hope is that Khalil and his dad would have these conversations, and that maybe Khalil can help his dad understand that, like, hey, just because this isn't the life that I want for myself, that means that I am being ungrateful for all that you've done for me, because he took care of him his whole life by himself as a single parent. So my hope is that, like, I'll get to Khalil, but my hope is that Jordan is safe and that no danger comes his way and that he doesn't end up in the hospital because of violence. Now for Khalil, my one hope is that he smiles more and that he just has things that he can be happy about as the season keeps going. Right now, things are just not looking good. He's experiencing a lot of loss right now. His dad is in jail, like I said, and he's the only one that took care of him his whole life. And now his friendship with Amina is in jeopardy with all of this bromance, fake boyfriend drama. So he's just experiencing a lot of loss. And I just hope that by the time the season ends, that he has formed a good group of people that are in his corner that aren't just adults, but also his peers. Like, I know he's still dealing with stuff on the football team, so hopefully that all starts to reconcile and he can start making connections with his teammates and they can become more friendly and can make friends with them now, hopefully, when he finally is in a position and can finally play in a game like as a starter, or at least get some plays in. Just want the trajectory from him to lead to happiness and not more turmoil. Now for Amina and these boys, starting with KJ, I don't know if this whole fake dating thing led her to catching feelings for him, and if she did, she's totally not aware of it. I mean, we've all seen the looks that they give each other and how they are together and their chemistry, but there's just like a missing piece there. Like, she either didn't catch feelings or she's just not completely aware of them, and she's also not completely aware of the fact that he had feelings for her. And then with KJ, it became very apparent to me in this episode that he definitely sees her as a sister, and that's it at this point. And again, I'm also not too sure if Amina like really likes him, really has a crush on him, or if it's just what he represents, as she is trying to be this grown girl and he kind of is like the bad boy that has ties to gangs, and because she's grown she feels like she might want that. So like, just the idea of him being this bad boy is what she's more interested in than actually who he is, because he really isn't a bad boy when you really look at it. And either way, I'm starting to think that this whole boy drama is just a complete distraction for what's really going on with her, and that is her wanting to know the truth about what really happened with her mom. And I think that she wants to know answers, but she is terrified of what the truth actually is. She is walking around basically trying to prove that she's grown enough to know the truth and to be told the truth, but it terrifies her to find out what that actual truth is, because it's most likely going to be worse than what she was told. And she knows that. She was like, what, 10, 11 years old when all of that stuff happened, and they just said what they could say to a 10, 11-year old in that moment. But now that she's a teenager, she knows that it's definitely going to be more than what she was told, and definitely worse. And the fact of the matter is that the Philly Mo that Amina got to see and the Crenshaw Mo that is of her in her past are two completely different people. And this is the moment where she could possibly learn that her mother has a bad side, or yeah, she will learn that her mom has a bad side. And knowing that she had this bad side and this past, and then like all the things that happened when she was killed, but then knowing that she grew up for 10 years of her life with this woman who didn't seem like an awful person at all. Those are two truths that she's going to have to learn how to hold, and it's not going to be easy. And she's going to have to learn that one does not invalidate the other, and that people are complicated and they're complex. And now that Coop is living with Amina and Preach, that's going to come probably way sooner. At least I'm hoping that it comes way sooner than we expect. I mean, there are only 13 episodes, so it's gonna have to come soon, because they're all gonna be in that house together, and she is now kind of over it with the guys right now, so she's gonna have to focus on something else. And she already had that moment with Coop episodes ago where she was yelling at her about her not being her mom. So it's gonna boil and it's gonna bubble out, and we're gonna see it soon. So overall, I give the first half of the season like a 3 out of 5. It's not perfect, but it's also not completely terrible. I think that they have done a good job introducing a majority new cast. The balance, I think, between the new kids and the OGs, it's okay. You know, obviously there was last night's episode where Jordan wasn't in it. There was a whole entire episode missing Jordan and Layla, and they've brought back Olivia, they've brought back Patience. So I think the balance is okay. It's understandable that they would try and give more time to the new kids so we can get used to them and they can start growing on us. It's understandable that, you know, there are a lot of people who really don't care about them as much and are really here for like the OGs that are left. But I think that they've done a good job at having the new kids be likable. The actors portraying them are doing a pretty good job. I said this before, it is kind of a slower burn with the seasons. I think that the second half of the seasons of this show pick up more than they do in the first half. They, like I said, they like to lay a foundation and then ramp things up a bit. So that is what I'm expecting in this back half. I will say, you know, it might be moving a little slower than I would have hoped, but this is not the first time that I've thought this for this show. So it's just, you know, that's just how they are. That's how they do things. This is how it will be. That's how I feel about this first half. Those are my thoughts on what I hope will happen in the back half. Let me know what y'all thought. Did you like this episode? Did you not like it? What do you think will happen in the rest of the season with all of these characters and things like that? Let me know in the comments, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.